This one is a map. It's Cliffside that we're playing as game number 1. It's one where the players spawn very close to one another compared to some other maps. So this is one of those maps where early aggression from either player can pay off very well.
Yeah, when I've been playing, I'm certainly not even near the levels of these pros today, but I've been liking Abbasid a lot myself in this map because the timing of those military wing units, they get created and you can have them harassing one of your opponent's resources almost immediately. It's really fun. We'll see if SoldieR goes that route. I know there were some changes to Abbasid with Fertile Crescent, getting a little buff, decreasing the resource cost of those economic buildings. Still yet to see that new culture wing tech with those really buff Abbasid villagers. We'll take a look though, but we are jumping into game 1 right here. We've got SoldieR in the green as the Abbasids on the south side of the cliff, with NyanRacingCat as the Malians on the north side here.
Yeah, we've seen GUA already today, and here we have his brother, although the cameras are swapped, so don't get deceived by that, but it indeed is SoldieR and NyanRacingCat. And just as a side note, I think this is the first time we're seeing green and orange being used for the player colors as well.
Yeah, I certainly haven't casted any games so far today with green and orange, so that's new for us. You do see the surround on the first pit mine for Nyan as the Malians. Pit mine, you know, you get some military wing units over there to harass it potentially into feudal. We'll see if that's where SoldieR wants to go with it.
One thing I'm looking at here, and I think this is one of the more prominent things to highlight, just looking at the minimap and in general the base layout. On this map you only spawn with one standard gold mine, and that's it. Everything else is towards the middle, and because of that, the second pit mine location is not obvious, and for NyanRacingCat, even that first pit mine, it's definitely in a position where it can be contested.
Yeah, it's way out in front, and if both players do get like 2 gold mines that aren't on the cliffs itself, you can see the second potential pit mine for NyanRacingCat, like even more far forward. Yeah, there's nothing safe behind him.
And that's a point of concern, not just from the pit mine perspective, but in general from the perspective of gold access.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's not much on the backside of the Malian base there. We do see Eco Wing coming in for SoldieR, as well as a Mansa Quarry for Nyan here. So we're talking about not going to see the military wing opening. We're going to see some Fertile Crescent action. We're going to see how much that recent buff will benefit the Malians here. We do see a cute little mining camp getting both stone and gold.
That's a nice little touch out there. We have yet to see SoldieR move more vills on the stone, though. So this is not necessarily a 2TC build guaranteed, but I have the feeling that if he moved 2 vills in there and he plays the mining camp the way he did, you really get the feel that this is indeed going to be a 2TC build. As highlighted by our observers here, that's a nice little touch. SoldieR barely had the food income. In fact, he's going to have to force drop food over here to be able to afford villager production.
Yeah, luckily has a couple in the queue that's going to hold him through for a bit, but it's going to run into an issue when that queue gets depleted. Pretty neat that with that little mining camp, you're going to save that 50 wood. You're going to be able to go up to 2TC just a little bit faster, even though those vills are walking a little further with their stone deposits. And we've hit Feudal Age now. Fertile Crescent on the way in. Not enough gold for fresh foodstuffs yet, but it's going to be a pretty quick 2TC.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect at this point from SoldieR here. He was very, very heavy on the stone. Now, the amount of spots that you can place it to is somewhat limited, because at the end of the day, when it comes to second town center expansion, your most common spot is going to be on a food source. Here, Hunt is so far away for SoldieR. Both of those deer packs are so far. So I'm thinking this could be a condensed second TC just right next to the initial one, and indeed, that's exactly where he's going to go.
There it is, yeah. Securing the berries is kind of a consolation, not able to go out and get the hunt, it being so far away here. It's coming down. We do see a mill coming up on the berries. We do see that lumber camp being dropped on that wood line to the south of SoldieR's main TC here.
But it's NyanRacingCat who opens with some level of aggression over here. And this is something that could be interesting to look at because javelin throwers do have great range, so they can harass these berry villagers from the other side.
Yeah, and I mean, even though the villagers aren't like archers, jav throwers still do a decent chunk of damage with every throw. And we do see a jav go out, hit one of the sheep in transit there.
Yeah, this is annoying for Soldier. This javelin thrower is just going to harass these villagers, and even if it doesn't kill any, just damaging these villagers will open up further raids to be a lot more effective for NyanRacingCat.
Yeah, a couple get garrisoned, more come in. There's the second jav thrower there. Oh man, that's so annoying. You drop that TC, you want to secure the berries, but you got two jav throwers just making a mess of things, forcing your villagers to go elsewhere.
Ooh. If he can park a couple of these units by this wood line, it's just going to make Soldier's life a nightmare.
Yeah, that is so annoying. Like, when you're getting raided and you know it's not enough to kill anything, to like delete a villager from you, but it's just a constant ping over and over. You got to keep that micro up, keep the garrison going to make sure those villagers stay safe. Super annoying. And that second pit mine is dropped in that little nook there. Under the cliff side to the south of Nyan's base.
Yeah, these javelin throwers just shutting down the berries here, and you can actually see how ineffective Soldier's economy is right now. He has to rally a dozen villagers on the sheep. This is not what he wants to do, but this is what he's forced to do until that first horseman comes out. Donso's out on the field already, but I don't think they have reached this position just yet.
Oh, and the Javs are able to pick off one Vil. May get a second one here if Soldier doesn't garrison. Yeah, there's two Vils. Javs doing their job. Really disrupting Abbasid eco here. Two horsemen on the field right now, one in the queue, facing up against 6 Jav throwers and 2 Donso, who are about to join their Jav throwing friends.
The Donso is the concern here if you're a Soldier. So far it has only been Javs and you're making horsemen, but with the appearance of this first Donso, this fight is just so much more different.
And you just start thinking like, oh, I was right there. I was getting those horsemen. I was able to like do something finally to push all of these Javs away. And now there's a Donso. And now these 2 horsemen that I have that would have been pretty effective at forcing the Jav throwers back are basically caught out, and another Vil goes down to those Jav throwers.
I love this 1-2 punch from NyanRacingCat here. He's aggressive, but behind this, he's leveraging all the gold income he has to get critical eco upgrades. He's gotten the lumberjacking upgrade, food upgrade, wheelbarrow, and he was doing this while also massing an army that's essentially shutting down this food eco here from Soldier.
Yeah, you see it on the other side. Soldier doesn't have those eco upgrades. We do see the ranged attack blacksmith upgrade coming in for NyanRacingCat. Going to make those Jav throwers just a little bit more deadly. Soldier with 5 horsemen now. Nyan still circling around Soldier's base here. Looking for targets.
Yeah, Soldier was able to sneak out to the left side, and that's a big thing. So far, it has only been that right or west, actually eastward posturing from NyanRacingCat, and that's why Soldier was able to sneak out to the berries to the far left, and that went completely unpunished.
Yeah, and I think NyanRacingCat is at the point where he's noticing, like, oh, the Vils aren't coming back to these berries. Where did they go? I know he's got villagers. Where are they at as he circles around the bottom of the base here? Do have 2 cows already for Nyan. Jav's able to pick off an archer as it comes out of the range.
Soldier detached his cavalry, though. You can see those little green dots moving across the minimap. Now, Soldier's getting to the position, especially with this aggression kind of fading away. He's getting to the position where he is willing and able to detach some of the cavalry and just see if he can do the eco damage himself. He has yet to pick a villager, though.
Yeah, not able to get any damage in with those horsemen. It looks like they are coming home to reinforce.
Is this intentional? Is he actually trying to collect the cows, or they might be just mispositioned? There's a cattle ranch right next to it. I don't know. I think the rally point might be off.
I think so too, because like you can see the cow count dwindling. Like, it was at 2 a couple minutes ago. Now it's at 1.
Yeah, look at the rally point. I don't think they're meant to be rallied in there.
Oh no, yeah, and they're coming just right back to the TC. So it's going to be more of an active food source for NyanRacingCat. He's building up some Rams now. He's looking to really punish this second town center. He does have that military count advantage at this point. Wants to get some big damage in before Soldier's eco really pops off.
And Soldier doesn't know.
No,
he missed out on this whole information, and he's launching a counterattack. This could be terrible. If his army is not in position when this attack is launched, he could lose the DC.
He's aware of it now, but now his units, still out of position. Now they're coming back home. Nyan seems to know, like, oh, his army's over there. What's next to the TC? Nothing. Let's send the Rams in. And here they come, looking to batter down the door. Horsemen looking to regroup from Soldier to push this back. Jav throwers coming up to deal damage to the archers. Donzo's not quite in position yet. Javs are going to be able to get back to safety, though.
Yeah, nice little micro here by NyanRacingCat. He's holding back the Donzos so the archers cannot pick them. And you see, Soldier is completely handcuffed here. He's unable to do anything about this. He's going to lose this town center without killing more than 2 units from his opponent.
Yeah, and taking a look at the mini-map, it looks like potentially he's looking to move some army around towards Nyan, cut off some reinforcements here, picking them off just so that mass doesn't grow bigger. But those Rams now focused on the capital TC, and what was inside that TC? It wasn't Vils. All those horsemen in there shooting arrows for a second, able to pop out and do some damage to Rams when they can. Looks like they might be able to get one before the Donzo come in. Not quite, but it is certainly low health.
This is beautiful micro here by Soldier, though. He's been slowly picking off the reinforcements. He's been slowly picking off the Donzos as well. And now as the charge comes in, he might have been a little trigger happy because he still was met with a bunch of Donzos for his cav.
Yeah, the Donzos were there. Looked like he was about to engage just right into some Donzos, but Vils are pulled. Those 2 Rams are down. Soldier still has the villager lead here, but in terms of resources per minute, I mean, looks like those cows are going into ranches at this point. Malians are looking good.
Yeah, when you look at the passive resource income, when you look at the eco upgrades that NyanRacingCat was able to pick up, that's where it starts looking grim for Soldier. Now, he's got a decent army of 21 archers. The concern is that he's facing a direct counter unit, the javelin throwers. So, and I guess his natural transition here would be horsemen, but he's just struggling to access food that he needs to mass produce the horsemen.
Yeah, he's been forced off of that berry patch like the entire game. You can still see it there with the little fences around it. There's that big blob of archers, but there's equal numbers jav throwers, so they're not going to get much done. Trying to focus on some reinforcements as possible. We'll see what Nyan does to react to this. It looks like he's looping his main units around. Soldier trying to build a wall on the south side, but that big blob of units gonna break through.
I love this move from Soldier, though. I think he's realizing that he cannot fight that army head-on, so he's just going to try to avoid it. Run circles around the enemy army with the Vils, and try to dive with the archers and just kind of equal things out. If he can jump the villagers of NyanRacingCat here, he could be back in this game very quickly.
Yeah, very much like a, well, see what you can get at this point type of move with those archers in there. There are enough jav throwers at home, so Soldier not going to really commit to the push there. Nyan also retreating from that little raid. It's going to hang out on the east side of the base, but it looks like there may be an engagement very soon here. And there goes the initial javs being tossed at the horsemen here. Horsemen coming around, maybe trying to flank some of these jav throwers, but the Donzos for NyanRacingCat not really going to make that possible, and Nyan able to start massing up on the cliff itself. See some Musafati warriors getting added in there. The first sofa on the way as well.
Musafatis are a weird choice over here. You're not really encountering any heavily armored units, but this is getting interesting here because one thing that Soldier has been doing is evading that enemy army very well. He expanded to the left side, he took the berries, he took the hunt, and now he's got a decent amount of horsemen as well. Question is how the distribution of these Donzos look, the Donzos look like. Because if you have most of your Donzos with your front army, you're gonna get pushed at your base with cavalry and you won't have enough to deal with them.
Yeah, and SoldieR not quite getting in there. Nyan holding the high ground for the moment. He's got his mass outside of the wood line to the north of SoldieR's base here, looking to make a push right around that wood line there. I'm wondering if the Musafati are going to do some stealth shenanigans with all of these villagers on pretty exposed resources.
They could. But it's only 4 of them, so I'm actually wondering if that was just a wrong hotkeys type of a thing.
It could be a misclick, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, that doesn't seem to be your go-to unit if you're NyanRacingCat. Donzo's Javelins are, and he's making a pivot into Sofas as well. And those Sofas will be tough to deal with. You don't have a single Spearman for SoldieR. Sure, Mass Horseman beats it, but it's not necessarily the best way to do it.
Yeah, and we're taking a look right now at the most full ranch I've ever seen, trying to fit more cows in there than is possible. Cows not having a happy time of it. It is full. We'll see if another ranch gets built at some point. SoldieR really expanding. He needs that food. He's going real greedy on that deer near the neutral market there. Meanwhile, NyanRacingCat with a big old mass right outside of SoldieR's base. We'll start to construct some rams potentially for the final push here.
Nyan is looking to dive here, but at the same time, he hasn't really been able to control SoldieR's expansion. If he sends 5 units to that little pocket, it's almost game over for SoldieR. Like, that's his lifeline. And in a way, he should know it's there, because he actually sees through the fog of war the carcasses disappearing.
Yeah, just a little scan of the minimap to see that the deer are not remaining. SoldieR now making a play for NyanRacingCat's base. You can see his army moving in. But covering the retreat is NyanRacingCat's own army. So that the army SoldieR's marching in is going to have a real tough time getting home.
It's terrible. He's actually pinched from 2 sides. This army is pushing him all the way into NyanRacingCat's base, but at the same time, Nyan's got reinforcements coming out of his own base.
Yeah, just running those units into other units. We do see a couple of villager picks, a little drive-by from the archers on the way through. Getting a couple on the wood line there as they hastily make their retreat. Big worry here if SoldieR retreats those archers past his eco, but it looks like while SoldieR's doing this, Nyan's got an army knocking on SoldieR's town center.
This is looking very grim for SoldieR now. I mean, he's gonna have to stop this ram, otherwise he's going to risk losing the TC. Nice little jump with the horseman though. And don't sleep on this. SoldieR is on 23 horsemen. He's got a lot of food in the bank as well. If he's given a little breathing room, he can go to Castle, and he's going to have a huge force of horsemen to work with.
Yeah, look at all that food that is in the bank for him right now. A couple of horsemen coming out, looking to burn down those toll outposts. The Malians dropping. Nyan's looking for another push into the TC. Still not sure where SoldieR's getting all his food from, and the cows are still just stacking up outside that ranch.
I don't know what happened a couple of seconds ago, but you could see a smile on SoldieR's face. I was like, I mean, he might have looked at the resource and said, wait a minute, I can go Castle.
And we do see that military wing on the way for SoldieR. NyanRacingCat mustering his army right to the north of SoldieR here. We do see horsemen able to get a few picks here on some of Nyan's army. Even though it's horsemen into Donzo, there are enough horsemen there to deal some damage.
And this is getting dicey here for Nyan. He's got the brute force army, but if this army from SoldieR here gets upgraded to Castle Age troops, veteran horsemen, veteran archers, and most importantly, once you start seeing Gulam appear, it's a very, very different story. So when he sees this Castle Age come in, he's going to have to dive.
Yeah, and it looks like he might already start the dive right now. Seeing those orange dots on the mini-map head towards SoldieR's base here. We do see him moving in, rams on the field, targeting the houses. Military wing just 40 seconds away. Sofa coming in to join this push right now on SoldieR's main town center.
And this is tough. if you're a soldier, you have to fight this because you don't want to risk losing the TC and potentially even having your second landmark contested. But at the same time, you want to wait until your army is upgraded. 20 seconds for the Abbasid player to go, but it feels like eternity.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to be able to save the TC right now. You can see him moving all of his units to the back of his base, just waiting for the castle age to tick in to start getting those upgrades. 1 second away. It's finally castle. Those camel riders come out, but that main TC is going down. House of Wisdom right next door. The initial veterancy upgrades on the way in, but that's going to be a few more minutes. Sofa coming up to disrupt the army, maybe see if there's any vills in that direction. But the House of Wisdom going to be under fire here very soon.
This Mangonel is so good, though. It's going to hold this choke point, and Nyan wants to die before the upgrades come in.
Mangonel, there's the shot over the top, connects. Huge hit there. I mean, yeah, one of those things that you don't have to wait as long for as the Abbasids is that field-produced Mangonel, especially when your opponent is just full of Danso and jab throwers. Get a couple lobbies on them, force them back, and Nyan is retreating to his base. Soldiers' upgrades almost complete at this point, with a raiding party of Sofa running around looking for any sort of pocket eco here. And he's found some gold vills. I don't think he's found that big mass of food villagers yet, though.
Yeah, I was gonna say he could find a lot more, and there is the Farimba garrison for NyanRacingCat. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very happy to see it because I've been ridiculed for saying that it could work. I don't know if that's going to work here, but one thing is sure, he found the vills.
Yeah, those villagers running for the hills, running for the cliffs on cliffside here, needing to get out of there, scrambling home. Upgrades in at this point for SoldieR. He's got 2 Mangonels on the field. He's looking to grab some relics, but that mosque is just under fire right now. SoldieR breaking through those walls outside of NyanRacingCat's base. As we're taking a look here, 8 on gold for NyanRacingCat, around 700 gold per minute. As he hits castle, we'll see what he invests that gold into the Farimba with.
Yeah, this is the tricky thing, right? You don't have an insane amount of gold income, but you want to go for the Farimba, which needs a lot of gold. And this is where the fact that these gold mines are exposed comes into play.
And we do see, yeah, SoldieR looking to shut down that one in the south, but maybe taking out the production instead. Mangonels focused on the pit mine, army focused on production buildings at this point.
Imported armor is going to be cancelled. He loses the stable that he was researching it on.
Oh, that is huge. That is what you need on your sofas to make them like a viable unit in castle. He's losing that pit mine to the south. We do see the Mansa quarry now taking a lot of damage. We do see pocket eco from SoldieR. SoldieR able to find that out. Start taking out a lot of Nyan's villagers there, force them back home.
Oh, but SoldieR is also hit on the left side. Look at his eco, 42 idols out of 50.
Yeah. Basically everything is idle for SoldieR right now. Those Mangonels creeping in. Nyan just trying to build up some mass inside of his base.
Nyan is losing everything. He's down to 30 vills. SoldieR's got 40 idols. What even is this game?
It's bloodshed, both sides. Oh man, civilians, deaths of civilians everywhere. Springle comes forward too soon, not gonna do anything to the Mangonels. The rest of Nyan's army not far behind. Will we see those mango shots hit those units? First volley comes in, hits some on the side. Those Gulams providing a real nice front line for SoldieR, able to prevent any of Nyan's units from really breaking through. Those Mangonels are doing damage, and while all of this is going around, SoldieR has had that group of horsemen just running through Nyan's base, taking any exposed resource that he can find.
Speaking of exposed, though, look at the bottom left.
Oh my goodness!
This is basically the entirety of SoldieR's eco running from a couple of sofas here.
This is wild. Just little packs of raiding units crippling both players' economies. Looks like it might evolve into a little base race here.
We're getting there. We're really getting there because at this point, SoldieR has been banked up. Side note, SoldieR lost his starting DC. He hasn't rebuilt it. He isn't producing villagers.
You are absolutely correct. It's still landmark victory, 1 out of 2. That town center still closed for repairs. Gonna finish shortly, but the Sofa are there. They're just hanging out. They'll fight off some Vills. Meanwhile, the push continues into Nyan's base. You can see the destruction, the rubble, as the army continues to make its way towards that town center. But look at the top, all of SoldieR's Vills go idle again for a second.
But Nyan's down.
There's no villagers. You can see on the southeast side, he's scrambling. It looks like there might be a pit mine going up on some gold on the southeast, just looking for some sort of income. And there's GG.
Look at his face. Look at SoldieR's face here.
Really happy with that. SoldieR taking the first game in a well-fought back and forth between both of our players.
Wow.
What a match, man. What a fun one.
If there is one word to describe it, it's like chaos all over.
Yeah, just villagers dying across the board. One player being without a single town center for a good 10 minutes, but it doesn't matter because the Castle Age push is enough to keep him in the game and eventually carry him to a win.
This is such a lovely game to start with. It started out so innocent. I mean, just a couple of javelins, harassing Vills, and then you started to see this huge clump of feudal age units evolve, and then next thing you know, both players start losing villagers. I think we finished this game with 60 villagers combined.
Yeah. At most. That is a generous estimate of villagers remaining. Oh, man, take a look at that economy count. Yeah.
I think that graph just tells you the whole story.
Yeah, SoldieR able to do just a great job. During that push with that pocket of horsemen just running around, denying resources, game could have been completely different if Nyan ever saw that food eco, maybe 5-7 minutes earlier. Able to put some pressure on there. I don't know if SoldieR would have been able to recover from that.
What's remarkable is that when it comes to resources gathered, there is a definitive advantage for NyanRacingCat, yet in the end, it's SoldieR who prevails. It's all about that early game economy. I think that's what propels both HRE and the Order of the Dragon to success. Two civilizations that are based very heavily around economy, and because of that, if your opponent is unable to hit your eco, you're always going to have a pretty high ceiling.
Well, let's see what happens as we jump into game 2 here. SoldieR 1-up on NyanRacingCat, going down to Cauldron. As we open in, we do see Nyan building a mill, try to get that shoreline fish with Order of the Dragon on the eastern side of the map in the northwest. We've got SoldieR as the HRE. You see that early barracks coming down. And we'll see what sort of disruption those early spears are going to make that SoldieR is creating.
Well, he hasn't yet scouted this expansion, but he might just anticipate it. And it makes a lot of sense. If it's uncontested, why not take it?
Exactly, yeah. We'll see if there's a Vill moved into that direction. We do see 2 from Order of the Dragon. Looks like the scout is circled around the deer area, but those Vills right now, they are fine on the shorefish in the middle.
Yeah, and this is... Oh, my.
That spear is so close. There's no way he couldn't have seen. You can see the nets in the fog of war.
It's always the trick of, he has seen it, but has he seen it?
Right.
Are you looking very specifically at that area when your unit gains vision? Now he knows, but it's going to be just in time. The tower is going to be late.
Yeah, tower's coming up. It is late. We are going to see these spears engage into those villagers. Those gilded villagers packing a punch, though. They are willing to brawl it out with the HRE spears.
Oh, but these are idled out in the meantime, and this is a good trade, I feel, for Soldier. He's got more spearmen coming, and he could justify pulling the Prela just to keep healing these spears.
And that spear gets away. Those Vils aren't able to catch up, and a third one joins the fray, and 4 Vils get pulled again, really delaying that tower and really delaying that food income. It's been like 30 seconds since those villagers have been working on the fish.
And now Soldier, he's unable to contest the villagers anymore. He's going to tower the mill, so he's just basically contesting this drop-off point.
Yeah, we do see those 2 Vils coming forward, looking ready to drop that tower, see how close they can get to the mill and still be safe. Scooting around the outside there.
Ooh, that's an aggressive
there it is,
tower.
yeah. Right in range.
Yeah, it's actually in range.
Yeah, if the villagers jumped in there, they could take out the villagers building the tower. And Soldier sending a scout down. And the villagers go inside of the tower, but they're going to shoot the scout, but they're not going to do anything about the tower. So Soldier is able to get that tower up. And those
cancel.
Gilded Vils are going to go home. Yeah, cancel the tower. You know, there's the villagers left. So.
Yeah, it's a full refund, though.
Yep.
So at the end of the day, he contested this position, but he didn't invest the wood. He just invested a villager time.
And he got a lot of idle villager time out of Nyan there. Almost potentially a villager here. Trying to get away from those spears, running away with 2 HP. With those marching drill spears, getting ready to do the final poke. Right in TC range, the Order of the Dragon friends in the town center get to see their buddy fall outside, but it's going to be a mine work coming out for NyanRacingCat.
This game is dicey for him, though. He was pushed away from the fish in the middle. We haven't really taken a look at his TC to see if he's got a reasonable amount of sheep to work with, and he does have a back hunt, so he's got fallback options. But you feel like Soldier isn't going to be that far behind in field edge timing. And he was actually able to pick off a Dragon Villager early game, which is a huge pickup for him.
Yeah, you would think like Aachen Chapel, something to boost your own eco to make up for the deficit, the loss that you just took being pushed off of fish here. But it will be mine work. We'll see what that turns into for the Order of the Dragon.
And it's a mine work for Soldier as well.
Double mine work, HRE mine work.
Now that's unexpected.
Okay.
We've been talking about this with the players at lunch. I was like, and a lot of players were saying, listen, Aachen Chapel is so good that there is no condition under which you're building the Minework Palace. And then here we go, Soldier comes in with the Minework for the HRE.
Mirror Mineworks. I don't even know the last time I saw HRE drop a Minework. It's pretty insane here. I mean, Soldier does have that pond in the middle, does have like an eco advantage that way. Maybe looking to catch NyanRacingCat just completely by surprise.
I think he's going to tower the gold.
Yeah, those Vils coming forward, and that is a forward gold. Like both of the golds on his side, very, very far forward here. See the spears idling it out, and a tower right in the middle to deny those from Nyan.
Soldier isn't messing around here. He's playing super aggro, definitely a lot more aggressive than he did in the previous game. And this is concerning for Nyan. He's going to have to pull Vils, but he won't be able to take out the tower because of the spears. Now he's forced to invest into archers, and Soldier is going men-at-arms.
Ooh, and that is tricky to deal with. Yeah, the first archer out on the field for Order of the Dragon, but that tower coming up onto the gold. I'm looking, there's a gold mine in the northeast. You could maybe sneak around to, potentially, but those 2 in front of his base are shut down.
It's all about the delay game, because don't forget, while all of this is happening, Soldier has access to the shortfish in the middle, and that's his ultimate goal.
Yeah, he's been sitting there for a while now, able to take access, and we do see those Gilded Vils sneak away, but that was under Soldier's vision there, so he's just going to scout this out. Already sees the villagers on the gold, sees the mine coming up, and will likely move into that direction to contest that gold mine.
Yeah, this one archer isn't going to do much over here, especially with man-at-arms coming from Soldier. But really, it's more about the disruption caused in the eco of NyanRacingCat. He has to walk all the way out here for the gold. He has had some idols for quite some time. He lost the Dragon Villager, and just look at what SoldieR is doing. Now he's getting arrows slits on that tower. He could fortify it even. And oh, this is so bad for Nyan. He went into the stealth forest, so he didn't actually see the spearman jumping him.
He went, yeah, completely blind. Spear's able to take some good hits on those archers, force them back to the gold mine. We do see a Gilded Men-at-Arm coming out as reinforcements, but we've got an HRE Men-at-Arms as well. They're going to duke it out near the wood line there. Archers providing some nice cover fire. Nyan happy on the gold right now, but those Gilded Villagers, they've gotten their workout just walking all across the map today, being forced out of the middle and now taking this other gold mine off to the side.
That HRE Men-at-Arms looked so pathetic 1v1ing that Gilded Men-at-Arms.
I'm sorry, big bro. I'll go away now. A forward stable for SoldieR, so he's going to have those horsemen coming out of, like, right next to the pond. Heading in towards NyanRacingCat here, who is slowly starting to mass an army of defense outside of the gold. Just not a lot of units there. Gilded Cuirass on the way at this point. And a barracks as well to defend the mine. He just now spotted the horseman though, and he's got no spearmen, so these archers are easy picks here for SoldieR. Yeah, it looks like those archers maybe just sacrificed to try to thin out the spear numbers, but they are not getting out of here alive. And as deadly as a Gilded Men-at-Arms is, he's just getting surrounded, taking a lot of hits.
And that's the problem with the Order of the Dragon. Every unit that you make is awfully expensive, so these early game skirmishes where you might end up losing 1 or 2 key units, these are awfully expensive for them.
Yeah, take a look at the destroyed value. I mean, we've seen a few units go down on both sides, but SoldieR's destroyed 480 worth of resources. Nyan only taking 120 there.
Yeah, I wonder if it's bugged, though, because the numbers feel a little off. I don't know for sure, but look at this. SoldieR wants to tower this once again. He's not messing around.
Tower every single gold. Look at this. Yeah, villagers rushing in. That barracks getting torched down. See the scouts and horsemen running around. Just trying to make sure that there's no other gold mine that Nyan can safely take.
It's not just that. SoldieR needs food to fuel the war machine, so he's going to claim those berries for himself as well.
Yeah, the Vill's right there, able to drop the mill, get onto the berries. Do see horsemen coming around the back. Trying to see if they can get any picks on the Order of the Dragon villagers in the wood line, but there's enough units to defend, push that back. Now there's a wall going down there. Horsemen looking for an angle. Coming back to the wood line again. Not going to be able to get close enough. They're going to force those Vills to run back to the TC for a second.
Yeah, interesting that SoldieR isn't taking shorefish in the middle anymore. I would have thought that he was going to leverage all that map control he was given by taking most of the shorefish, but he pulled the villagers, apparently.
Yeah, pulled those villagers. He's like, oh, well, I'll just tower, and the berries are here. I guess I'll take them instead of walking home. And now we got torches out on the Order of the Dragon mine work. SoldieR looking to maybe start burning that down. It's already right around 3/4 of health. There's a little mass of Gilded Men-at-Arms behind the mine work to defend, and SoldieR is going to disengage for the moment.
He's going castle, and this might be a Burgrave castle here. He's been playing all in aggro in this entire game, so if he wants to go crazy, Burgrave could work, and indeed, here it is.
There it is, yeah, you were absolutely right, and if he wants to, like, if he needs that food to keep the Burgrave going, he can just move those Vills right back over to the shorefish. For that source of food. Another engagement now underneath the mine work. Gilded Men-at-Arms coming forward. Gonna push back the HRE for a minute. A little flanking force coming in on the side from SoldieR into Nyan's base. Also gonna be repelled. You can see Nyan walling himself in, desperately taking those berries.
The concern here for Nyan is that he cannot really force a fight with these Men-at-Arms unless he marches into the enemy base. And because of that, He's just sitting in his base right now. His opponent is about to reach Castle Edge, and when that happens, SoldieR can start pumping out some crossbows, and he's gonna have the perfect counter to these men-at-arms.
Yeah, SoldieR hitting Castle right now. Nyan able to reclaim that gold mine, and you can see 4 men-at-arms put right into the queue at the Burgrave. No upgrades yet, just wants to get those guys onto the field over in Nyan's direction. You can see a couple of units patrolling around that gold mine, but Nyan has secured the one near his base for the moment.
Mazes could go big here for SoldieR. He's got a lot of men-at-arms, but he doesn't really want to fight these gilded men-at-arms just yet. If you get veterancy and you get heavy maces, it's a lot better for the HRE to take such fights.
Yeah, and you don't have to really lean into archery ranges as much, but there is a big fight on the berries. SoldieR able to take out a few more Dragonvilles, and that's going to be GG.
Well, again, a game with a lot of aggression, even more than what we've seen in the previous game. And, you know, one cool thing to see here in SoldieR's playstyle is the level of aggression and the level of craziness that he's playing with. He's not just going into some level of aggression, but keeping his villagers back at home. He's spreading very aggressively, and this is a very high upside move until your opponent has cavalry to start punishing you. So I feel like what SoldieR is doing is like a very high ceiling, very low floor approach, but it's really working out in this set so far.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job of just containing Nyan to his own base, getting him off of gold for a good portion of that. And like you were saying, moving his vills forward, just have that chain of towers denying everything, having the vills be able to take some of the resources just right outside of Nyan's base. And Nyan couldn't break through, and that's game 2 here.
And just looking at the remainder of the draft, though, because we do have Rus, actually, the new and fancy buffed Rus in many's eyes, or maybe not buffed, but definitely redesigned. Redesigned Rus being the last pick here for NyanRacingCat. He's got the Deli as well. But one thing I'm looking at is that, for instance, when you look at you look at SoldieR, he still has that early aggression potential that he was able to leverage so much. Byzantines are capable of that. French definitely so as well. And Japanese is probably your wild card for one of these hybrid maps.
Yep.
But I feel like for SoldieR, it's a setup where if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Whereas NyanRacingCat is going to have to change something up. I think he can do that with the Ottomans over here. Remains to be seen if, assuming he wins this game, remains to be seen if he can do that with the other civs as well.
Yeah, we'll find that out, but for right now, we're jumping into game 3. We got SoldieR going 2-0 so far against Nyan. Taking a look at his base, he's in the blue. He's Joan of Arc with a very forward gold. You see Joan up there mining away at that across the river. Got NyanRacingCat in the orange as the Ottomans.
Orange Ottomans hurts my OCD a lot.
They should be green. They just should be.
Yeah, because blue French, like, that looks authentic. But orange Ottomans is just like, okay, what am I looking at?
Yeah. Who are these people? School of Cav coming down right now for Joan of Arc. We're taking a look at Nyan's base. He did construct an early military school, so that Dark Age spear is on the field right now. He's out there, likely gonna use that to defend, although it looks like he's crossing the map with it. Might look to harass Joan of Arc on the gold, get some damage done before the age up comes in.
This could be an interesting opening here, because NyanRacingCat has that consistent spearman production from the military school. And the massive win here for him is if he can harass this gold. If he does that, SoldieR won't be able to afford a knight immediately. He pulled everybody from gold, so having that spearman camp next to the gold mine means that SoldieR cannot open with a knight.
Yeah, and you can see SoldieR not adding any additional gold right now. Spearman coming in, gonna find nobody at the gold mine. Nobody's home. Joan of Arc just building the School of Cav by herself. Looks like SoldieR just content for the food and wood for the time being. And the spear is just gonna Just gonna mess with these deer, spread them out a little bit, make them a little harder to harvest.
Yeah, this is I feel like this is not a great start for SoldieR over here. It's not like he was able to do anything better. He's just kind of the victim of the circumstances, but he's not going to be able to queue a knight at the beginning. His golds are at the front, and he doesn't have a lot of safe food to work with either. And, you know, that's generally a very bad thing for a French or French variant.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at his side of the map, and you've got the berries in the back of his base, but besides that, like, there's 2 berries way out on the flanks, and all the hunt is forward. That's pretty tough. Yeah, like we were saying, all the resources around your starting TC pretty far away. And SoldieR might not be able to just jump on those pocket resources unchallenged like he was able to in the previous matches here. Villagers returning to gold at this point.
It's surprising that Nyan isn't a little bit more aggressive with the spears, though. Maybe he just well, I don't know what his plan was here. Maybe he wanted to bait a range. And sure enough, that's going to be the way it goes for SoldieR. And you can actually see SoldieR not having that gold access. He's going to open Horseman. And now he's actually choosing a range, Jeanne, which is definitely the less frequent choice.
Yeah, you certainly don't see her quite as often because that melee cleave is so useful for dealing the spears that are going to be made for your knights. But those early spears for Nyan still, you know, messing with another pack of deer. We've got Jeanne with her bow and arrow running towards the Ottomans base. Horseman on the field for SoldieR. Gonna push back the Ottoman scout. We do see the spears, I believe, returning home for Nyan there. Gonna be scouted out. Horseman on that. We'll see if Jeanne can get a pick. See that flaming arrow connect with the spear. And that one's taken down for 8 experience.
Ooh. SoldieR lost his scout to the TC here, so he's actually forced to make a new one. You can see top part of the screen at the unit queue, he is queuing a new scout. He does so the School of Cavalry, so this is not a major concern for him. But one thing I'm looking at is that he's not making knights, but he's still heavy on the gold. For now, it's for techs. But if this remains the way it is right now, we could see him trying to age early here. I don't know what he would gain with that, but that's usually what you see when players keep so many vills on gold but not make knights.
Right, and you think about like the 2 options. I mean, Royal Bloodline's not going to provide that much, and then Guildhall, you don't get any immediate benefit. Pays off later for sure. So we do see another arrow connect with one of the spears. Sipahi on the field now, gonna force Jeanne and her archer back. Horsemen are already out of here, but Jeanne able to pick up another kill. And the Sipahi now gonna retreat with a horseman being shown.
Unironically, I don't know what the plan is for either of these players. Because they are heavily invested into army production, especially SoldieR, but at the end of the day, neither of these armies look good enough to dive an enemy base with. So it's kind of just this little skirmishing back and forth. But because both are investing into their army, they aren't able to add the second TC. We're not seeing fast castles whatsoever. So it's kind of just stuck in feudal and slowly building up armies so far.
Yeah, little skirmishes here and there. We do see the first Vizier point going towards the free meter for Nyan. Going to provide some ranged defense, potentially, countering Archer Jeanne. Sipahi, though, coming in onto the deer. There are enough units there to force those Sipahi back. Jeanne just hanging around, protecting those deer horsemen, and a knight in there for SoldieR, circling around Nyan's base, looking for a target. Still hasn't expanded out to the deer just yet. Looking for something, though. We'll see if he's able to find a villager.
Now, if you're a SoldieR, you might be okay with the fact that you're picking up all these eco upgrades, so you're kind of pulling ahead economically. But it's always a little dangerous, as we do have a little villager pick here by SoldieR, first villager casualty of the game.
Yep, SoldieR able to take that 1 gold vill out with his raiding party. Spear's now active, and yeah, those mounted units need to get away.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is that it's always an interesting scenario with the Ottomans, because the more time you give them, the better they become. These military schools, they really start kicking in late feudal, early castle. And if you're not really harassing them, or even if you're picking off a couple of villagers, if you just allow them to build up the military schools, they become extremely difficult to take out.
For sure. We do see some Sipahis swinging around here on Joan's gold villagers. One going down. Sipahi's able to take out one and get out of there. But yeah, Ottomans really do feel like a sieve with a lot of like feudal inertia. You really have to push to get that ball rolling. But once it does, it is rolling downhill. And your army's just going to continue to mass and mass and mass. Jeanne dropping some walls in the back of her base, looking to prevent any Sipahis swinging around the bottom side there. You got double range right now. Joan's army on the fields outside of the Ottomans' base, looking for a target.
It's tough though right now for a soldier. I like the walls he made because this prevents those Sipahi from breaking in. But if you're NyanRacingCat, you're more than happy chilling back at home. The more time you're given, the more military schools you're going to have. You're also building up the number of method that you have. So we're slowly getting to the stage where Soldier's army is going to get progressively outnumbered by NyanRacingCat. And let's not forget, Soldier is paying big bucks for these units, whereas NyanRacingCat is actually getting most of his units for free.
Yeah, a lot of them coming in from those military schools. Did see a Sipahi raid run by, not going to find any picks there. Also, just, you know, the way that the Ottomans are keeping their units in their base, really denying Jeanne any sort of experience here as well. Just not able to take those fights. Did see a couple spears early game and a Vil, but besides that, Jeanne not getting a lot of experience from combat.
Yeah, I feel like if you're GUA, or brothers, it's not GUA, it's Soldier playing, but yeah, if you're a Soldier, you could consider a second TC here, because this 1 TC versus 1 TC, slowly building up armies, is not going to favor Jeanne. You see, army count is neck and neck, but again, when it comes to the resources invested into the army, it's substantially smaller for NyanRacingCat, and that is why he's halfway close to Castle Age when it comes to the resources needed.
Yeah, still has a lot of resources in the bank. We did see a little movement from the Ottomans. That army ball coming around the front for just a second before retreating back. You see Soldier with a group of horsemen and a knight looking for any sort of eco damage. But the Ottomans are pretty well defended currently. May run into some trouble with trying to look to see where their food is. Oh, but knights, horsemen coming in, gonna pick up a villager. Gonna do some damage to another one. Meanwhile, Sipahis do get caught out on Soldier's side of the map. Gonna be forced home. So defense at home for both players. Gonna force away the raids. Soldier able to pick up a villager out of that.
But one thing that Soldier was able to pick up in that raid, not just the villager, but also information. He spotted a bunch of Vils on gold, and when you look at a civilization like the Ottomans, which don't have a gold-heavy unit in feudal, that's usually an indication that they want to castle. And in fact, that is the plan for NyanRacingCat. He's gathering gold that goes for castle, but he doubled down on this military production with his food because he's afraid of getting pushed. And I think part of the reason why Soldier is becoming a little bit more aggressive with his army is because he feels like NyanRacingCat is about to go to castle.
Yeah, for sure. You do see Soldier come around with another group of units. NyanRacingCat gonna chase them away, but the main force of the army maybe looking for some picks over that wall there, but they're gonna continue around the right side, post up near those berries for the time being. Just waiting to see what the Ottomans are gonna do next.
I assume those houses will prevent you from running in. I don't know. I think walls should up. Nope.
Nope, they're just weaving right through.
Yeah, it's open.
A fence not going to stop anything. Those 5 Sipahi going to be enough to push the horsemen back, but Joan's going around clockwise now around the wood line, potentially looking to take an engagement. You see the Ottomans walling themselves in, trying to keep that army safe, trying to keep the Vils safe.
Yeah, they're looking for funnel points here. You cannot dive 30 Ottoman spearmen with those cavalry units. So these walls will create some natural choke points. And I think SoldieR is waiting for his opponent to castle here. He knows that Nyan wants to go to castle, so he's waiting for him to pull the trigger so he can dive.
Yeah, Nyan, you can see like just continuing to collect gold, but that food is still going into military for the time being. Doesn't want to be caught out with
he's having food
hitting
issues.
castle. Yeah, we see Anatolian Hills being selected for the next Vizier point, spawning those sheep at home. You see the walls coming around, trying to keep those deer safe. Some of them getting chased out a bit, but they'll return home. We'll see if that wall gets completed. But SoldieR's continuing to mass units outside of the Ottomans' base, now building a ram, looking to knock down one of those walls and really push in the moment I think that Nyan is going to go up to castle.
One thing I'm looking at here is that the wall isn't complete. There is one segment that's basically at 5% construction.
Yeah.
If you target that down, that should destroy adjacent tiles as well.
Right, that would be like that entire line of walls with like one torch. Rams coming forward from SoldieR, looking to knock down that wall there. He's going to break through. Nyan needs to make a decision on what he's going to do here. He has the resources for castle, but he's got Joan of Arc right outside the base. He is going to go with castle.
He's building it with one will.
One vil at first, then corrected, now up to 25. So a scramble to get the armory down as the French look to push in on the Ottomans. Those two rams taking out houses, going to move on to production, maybe a military school. It's going to be a bit for Nyan to get up to castle here. Taking a look at the Vizier points, yeah, the free meter. We got the Anatolian Hills as well. Rams continuing to move in. Targeting that outpost, now the French army into the wood line, burning down houses, idling out that madrasa.
Nyan is housed so bad. He was pushed away from his wood line. He's at 33 wood with 60 per minute income, and he lost all his houses. He cannot make new units right now.
And he's going to have to long distance. I don't know if there's anything left on those straggler trees. He's going to have to go way out.
It gets worse than that. He doesn't have gold. He cannot get the upgrades. He can only get veterancy on the spearmen, but not the Sipahi or the archers.
So no room for a mango, no gold for upgrades. You spent so many resources to get to castle. There's really nothing to show for it right now. This is a lot of trouble for NyanRacingCat. 3 rams now onto the production.
And now SoldieR is aging as well, and he will be able to afford the upgrades, unlike NyanRacingCat.
Ooh, it is a tricky position. We do see that guild hall go down. See a detachment of units from SoldieR swinging around the other side of the base, maybe looking for those woodvilles onto the gold mine as the force up front pushes in on the military school. But there's a raid on NyanRacingCat's resources. See Sipahi coming out to defend. Those vills have to go home. You see panic houses, the quickest neighborhood development.
He needed it.
Yeah.
He had the biggest housing crisis of the medieval times.
Those Ottomans, there's just nowhere to live. Every place is too expensive. But Ottomans able to get the houses down, but still can't get any of those techs in at the moment. Mangonel still in production, though. We do see Castle Age Spears. We do see some men-at-arms for the Ottomans, but there are just so many archers poking down everything. We got level 3 Joan of Arc, and we got Joan's Riders as well, gonna mix in with the horsemen there. You see SoldieR going out and maybe looking to see if there's any economy on the northeast side of Nyan's base.
And Nyan is in trouble here, though. His production stalled out for so long because of that housing issue. He lost a lot of infrastructure as well, and he's still struggling to access gold here. Most of his gold is to the front, and those are being shut down by SoldieR.
Yeah, there's still a little bit to the west of his TC, but if SoldieR moves over there, he's in trouble. Now we do see the 2 Imam coming out. So we're going to See those units get healed up. We do have that Mangonel on the field for NyanRacingCat, which will help out against the massive archers. But it's just one Mangonel, and there's still, you know, multiple horsemen and riders on the field. Nyan is going to push forward. And while veterancy does complete for soldiers, archers, he's retreating with those, potentially drawing Nyan forward.
At the very top, look at the minimap.
Yeah, he's able to get horsemen and Joan out there to try to disrupt that wall. Those men-at-arms going down. Joan's riders in the mix to take them out. Joan getting EXP. You can see Ottomans, the Vil is still alive, gonna probably finish that wall. It's not walling in resources, it's just a long defensive wall.
Yeah, it's so tough because, again, if you're NyanRacingCat, you're confined in your base, and the moment you break out, you're going to be swarmed by a much bigger army. Now it's a 50% advantage army size-wise.
Yeah, just losing the production building, losing the houses, not able to make units for what felt like 2 or 3 minutes. Certainly impacting the Ottoman army size here. We do see some more production up front. We do see villagers return to that gold. But soldiers right there with Joan and her riders able to take out one Vil. We do see a lobby from a Mangonel, not really going to connect.
Men-at-Arms and Janissaries are slowly trickling in, though, and if there is one thing we know about Janissaries, it's that they are great against cavalry. And
yep, and look at this.
Yep, Soldier is trading, folks.
We've got, yeah, that is wild. We do have Nyan able to like take a couple of Vils. Soldier getting a little comfortable. A couple of Lancers on the backside there, but they're going to be taken out. The traders are here.
Well, Nyan is able to distract a big army here with 2 Lancers, though. That is way too many units to pursue with.
Basically pulled Soldier all the way back in his base. You can see Nyan's main force now moving towards the middle, massing up in front of his own base. More walls getting added.
Nyan is kind of back on track in terms of army count and like stability, I guess. But when it comes to overall population, it's still 180 versus 140. But Nyan is heavy on stone, so I'm actually wondering if he wants a second DC. He must know how big of an eco damage he suffered as well. Like, how much he was essentially stalled out because of that aggression. So maybe he's thinking about adding a second DC here.
Yes, something to get him back in there. And one Sipahi able to scout out that mass of villagers from Soldier, looking to take the berries, gonna put a stop to that. But it seems like we're gonna have a big engagement right in the middle here. You can see those army blobs moving towards each other. Those traders on a pretty decent trade route. But here comes the Ottomans into the French base. Are they going to completely commit here?
Well, they kind of have to.
Yeah.
I don't think they can escape if they fall back. That's the thing.
So here's the push. There's the Mangonels overhead. And we do have another Sipahi harassing French villagers, just trying to pick some berries. But the Ottomans going to be forced back here.
And this is looking grim. Look at the blasted upgrades. There is just a night and day difference between the quality and even the size of these armies. And now that Soldier has access to these Springolds, even the one Mangonel that NyanRacingCat had, it was just vaporized in an instant.
Yeah, one of those big advantages that he could have had there to swing the tide of the next battle. Just instantly popped by those 2 Springolds. Do you see that raid does continue? In the corner, that
Mangonel.
one Sipahi. And the Mangonel shot does connect. Soldier able to do a lot of damage in that one volley. We'll see if it can set up for a second. No, the Ottomans able to get out of there, but that Sipahi is having the time of its life. I don't know how many Vils it's killed at this point.
Ironically, that's kind of the best thing that is happening to NyanRacingCat right now, though. Because everything else is falling apart. He's getting raided, and his army is just the shadow of its former itself. A lot of premium units, men-at-arms and Janissaries as well, but just look at the size of SoldieR's army here. He is going to be 200 out of 200 population.
Yeah, massive army. Like you're saying, difference in blacksmith upgrades as well. Joan and her little detachment of riders maybe looking to break in, or maybe just looking to hang out on Nyan's side of the canyon here. Not going to let Nyan get comfortable. Keep those units over there. We do see a little detachment of spearmen potentially chasing a French monk who's got a relic. First relic of the game that is in motion.
Yeah, at this point, I don't think SoldieR needs to rush anything anymore. He's got the right side walled and he's setting up trade. He is set up long term and he's now 200 out of 200 population. So at this point, all the resources he gathers, it's going to go into the bank and it's not going to be used up on units. And this is the domain where you start thinking about Imperial. His food eco is still underwhelming, to say the least. But now, I think he is going to start thinking about Imperial in the next 5 or so minutes.
Yeah, and I believe he dropped a guild hall as well. I'm not sure what that's on right now, but if that's on food, and it did go up, felt maybe 10 minutes ago, should have a good amount in there, yeah. Yeah, it looks like Imperial might be the play, yeah.
That is your age up.
Well, SoldieR setting up outside the sacred site. He's got his army there. Nyan falling back to his own base. Springles going behind into shelter. Do see a few units from Nyan trying to make it home. There's a blob. We'll see if Soldier's able to cut it off. But yeah, those units not able to come home. And another mangonel shot. Real brutal over the top. Dealing some damage.
And now the healing is popped by Jeanne. And most of the units that the mangonel hit, they were Janissaries. And with the Janissaries gone, the horsemen will just reign supreme.
Yeah, and it's an absolute cleanup here. I think Nyan just waved at us. And yeah, he calls GG. SoldieR takes it 3-0.
I feel like we've been snubbed of a 3-1 or a 3-2 because this series could have gone easily to 5 games. We've seen some really, really fun and competitive games, and really, none of these were real stomps. Every one of these games, NyanRacingCat had his moments, and there were times when his army looked very convincing. I feel like at the end of the day, what decided things is that SoldieR seemed to be a little bit more decisive with his army, perhaps. And oftentimes he was able to limit the opponent's map control, and that ultimately led to victories.
Yeah, SoldieR did a great job throughout these games, able to take map control, able to take the resources on the map without a lot of pressure from Nyan. I mean, but yeah, after that first game between the Abbasid and the Mali, it really looked like this was going to be like potential 5-game series here. As we take a look at the final stats for the Jeanne d'Arc Ottomans game. Yeah, just the castle timing. I think that was it. I think that's what may have been the death for NyanRacingCat, just losing the production, losing the houses, and not able to do anything with castle once he got it.
I strongly believe that the moment SoldieR decided to attack this gold mine and saw the gold miners out there, that's what decided things. Because from that point onwards, he had the information about the fact that his opponent wants the castle, and because he saw that his opponent wants the castle, from that point onwards is all about just waiting it out and making sure that when his opponent is castling, you make that timing push happen.
And then you push, yeah. Yeah, you could see just continuing to mass units right outside the wall, and the moment he starts aging up, there's the push, there's the damage done. All right, welcome in here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Real fun series to watch.
Yeah.
So tell me about the first game, feeling that pressure from those jab throwers. Like, what's going through your mind? What are you thinking about? How are you going to come back into this one?
I was pretty down. Like, I didn't see myself coming back in that game. And, I mean, I think I like his opening was nice. I was feeling a lot of pressure from the javelins, and I couldn't really figure out what to make to counter it, especially since he started adding in the spears. So
yeah, it looked really tricky, the micro with all like the Donso there, all the jab throwers, and the horse and archers just couldn't.
I just like I just felt like I had to keep delaying. My villagers were just running like all over the place.
Oh yeah.
I thought for sure that game was over. Like I didn't have any hope at all.
I felt like your TC was down for a good like 10 minutes.
Like alive? Like it was producing bills or?
No. Like it was when it was taken down. Your main TC when it was taken down. I felt like
oh my God.
It was down for basically the rest of the game at that point.
It kept raiding too. Like I don't know how.
Yeah, you were able to find those raids, and I think just the timing of you hitting Castle, being able to actually just get that mass to force him back and then do damage into his base.
Yeah, I think those mangonels, I think I had 2 mangonels that were doing a lot of damage, got a couple of shots on Vills, and I was just trying to create chaos and
you sure did. That was a fantastic, chaotic game to cast. Had a lot of fun with that one. Then moving into Cauldron for the second game. Minework HRE. It's been a bit since I've seen that.
Yeah, so I thought he was going to start Barracks opening, so that's why I started Barracks, and seeing him go for the fish there, I actually was really surprised that he abandoned that tower. So once I got that position, I just felt like I didn't want to lose to like super upgraded Man-at-Arms early in the game, so I went with the same landmark and kind of the same unit composition, but figured that if I can keep them off resources a little bit, I should just have a mass. Because Order of the Dragon Man-at-Arms are scary, but if you only get a few at a time, then
there at least you can take them out, especially if you're able to deny them the gold to build up anymore. Did a good job containing in that one. For sure. And last game, Jonah Arc, Ottomans. Lidicor and I were talking about you specifically waiting for that Castle Age timing, like standing outside of the base.
Yeah, I could definitely feel like he didn't really try to stop the Rams for quite a while, and I thought he probably had a better army, so I was like, okay, well, he's got to be going Castle. And actually, to start that game, I was thinking about going with the trading landmark.
Really?
But, then I saw that he opened with Military Academy, so I was like, well, I don't want to get caught out with Joan of Arc out there not able to defend herself.
That would have been insane to...
that would have been a little bit too risky. But I did start trading later in the game.
Yeah, no, we caught that. Yeah, we saw you add the trade, and Guildhall, the food amount, like you were a blink away from Imperial if the game didn't end. At that point, looking real strong.
In that game, I felt the only thing I really had to like hold off once it got into it was his Mangonel. So that's when I decided to drop that Siege Workshop and get a couple Springles out there. And after that, I felt pretty safe.
Yeah, just pushed it right back, closed out the game.
Yeah, he always plays me tough, so I 3-0'd him in the qualifiers, which I was very surprised at, and then this, especially after the first game, I was like, oh man, this is...
It seemed like it was going to be back and forth the entire time, but games 2, games 3, you were real strong in those. How are you feeling being down here, being in Denver in person?
It's awesome.
How are the vibes like?
It's super cool. Everybody's really fun, like cool. Like you can watch anybody play or just talk the game with them. And it's super cool. And the stage is like, man, you feel it a little bit when you get up there. you feel
I'm sure.
It for sure.
I'm sure.
But it's so much fun.
It's gotta feel amazing. All right. Well, thanks for coming down. Thanks for taking the time to talk to me. Good luck in the rest of the tournament.
Thank you. You got a tough road ahead of me.
I'd say there are a couple people to beat.
Yeah.
Pretty strong. All right.